passion, inspiration, determination. Are you ready to jump into a better life? Welcome to our program, Jump Into It. Welcome to Jump Into It, a live show and podcast to help entrepreneurial-minded women jump into a better life. Welcome. I'm your host, Gabrielle, Hailmann, and with me is Anita. And today we're going to talk about thought leadership. Thought leadership has been considered a strategy that can effectively have demand for your products and services and really put you ahead of the competition. So we're going to talk first, what is it? What are the strategies? What are the benefits? And why you need to really seriously consider it as part of your business strategy. So let's start first with the question, what is thought leadership? Anita.
Well, I think it would be remiss if I didn't point out that we have a section in our book, the Jump Into It book, Breakthru Marketing Guide. And I thought what I could do is read what we said thought leadership was, and then we can continue the discussion. Thought leadership strategy focuses less on content that sells and more on content that establishes you as an expert in your field. This type of strategy fills your sales funnel by earning you credibility and rapport. When you freely provide accurate information and consistent advice, buyers reciprocate by purchasing your products and services and encouraging their colleagues to buy from you. I'm going to stop there. How do you think that resonates with you?
Well, we wrote the book. So we help to define for our readers what thought leadership is. And what I probably would add to that is there's a lot of tools out there to generate content. I mean, AI, ChatGPT, almost every marketing automation or MarTech tool will be able to automate content. So I just want to put a warning out there. You still need to be authentic and you need to be innovative. AI really is a content aggregator to pull content in and aggregate it in a way that it flows, it's grammatically correct, it condenses all the key points. But what it doesn't do is it doesn't provide you with a creative, introspective, or innovative approach to how things could be done differently. And to rise above all the noise that's out there is you really need to understand the industry, not just go to an AI tool and think that you can fakely position yourself as a leader. You really need to be a leader. So those people that know the industry, that have kept on top of the industry, that have identified the trends, that really are visionaries and forward thinkers, are in the best position to be thought leaders. And secondly, to add to that, is that thought leadership is about answering questions or concerns or pain points around where people are uncomfortable today, and you providing some solutions or a different perspective on how to move forward, whether it's health and wellness, managing your finances, handling new IT tools or information technology or AI. Thought leadership plays a really strong role there because it helps guide people and you become the authority, the voice in that certain industry or that certain vertical. So it's very powerful if you can do it right.
Well, what I would say to you in return, and I think this is more important for the audience to understand, AI is just a tool, and content and thought leadership are two separate categories of content. And what I mean by that is that when you're a thought leader, it's not just about repeating or regurgitating something you've seen in the news and or on social, where you're going to continue to pass through some of other people's knowledge. Content and thought leadership could go into the form of research. And I think research and putting survey type information or being the authority on a specific research initiative helps elevate businesses and organizations to separate themselves out from a thought leadership perspective. So when I think about what we've done in our project life and where I've implemented a thought leadership strategy is working in the FI space. But you said it right. You know, you can do this in health and wellness, in technology. Any industry can have thought leadership from that standpoint. When I worked at the mortgage insurance company, thought leadership was in the form of home ownership surveys, and we engaged with outside research firms like Environics, those types of firms that are authoritative and have the credibility when you pull research together. And as you know, research is paramount to coming out with great indexes and in stats. And from that point, when you engage in that kind of research, it can be a repetitive strategy whereby you take the research, you come out and you put an event around the research, and you invite your VIP clients to attend, to be the first to hear the research went out and culminated. That research then can go into social in so many different fashions. It can also go out in a press release. It can go as a report where you gating content on your website. Content and thought leadership are two separate things, and I think AI can help you with your content, absolutely. And we'll talk a lot more about AI as we continue down our marketing journey with our audience, to distinguish between content and thought leadership.
Excellent. Thank you, Anita. Yeah, having primary research and driving that research so that you're providing new information that isn't out there already. And then you position yourself as a leader that you can provide innovative, timely information is really critical. You made some excellent points around how do you just distribute that information? How do you get it in front of your potential buyers or authorities, influencers in the industry, so they can spread the news about your findings or your opinions or your perspectives or trends that you are uncovering. There are many different channels, and you talked about social media as well and events in order to be able to do that. And I also wanted to highlight what are the key benefits. Going back to our book, which is Jump Into It Breakthru Marketing Guide, Turn Your Vision to Fast Wins and Lasting Success. We also talk about the importance of thought leadership. And one survey that LinkedIn had done found that 91% of business decision makers and 73% of C-suite executives consider thought leadership as either important or critical to business growth. Nearly 40% of those surveyed spent 1 to 3 hours a week reading this type of content. C-levels are seeking out and reading this content, not just middle management. Thought leadership is content that is being consumed if the content is relevant and meaningful to your audience.
I think the additional benefits are also the authenticity that you need to create when you're coming out with the thought leadership, as well as it builds credibility. And when you think about your audience or your buyer and how you can gain trust, it does typically consist of informing them of products, you're informing of them of benefits of your products. So the more that you can come out and talk about your brand in a way that, again, resonates with, helps to build the credibility, and then that is where the buying cycle comes in.
Because it can have a very strong viral effect as well, where people will start sharing that content, talking about that content. And it's really a great play, rising yourself above the competition, because it's a very crowded space out there right now. And also another great benefit about thought leadership, it's not necessarily paid media, it's earned media. If you have a tight budget, but really an industry leader, you're really authoritative in being able to position yourself and you have something to say, if it's meaningful and it's engaging, it will gain the momentum without you having to spend a lot on media dollars.
The people who do that the best, companies like EY, PwC, Deloitte, they're consultants, and focus on is the research, is the critical thinking, and bringing those insights around big, difficult concepts. Difficult concepts need to be brought down to a very general, basic, as they say, grade 5 math or grade 5 speak to the public. So difficult concepts like AI and blockchain, those concepts come through more simply through those organizations. That's what they do well. They synthesize the data and articulate it in a way that builds trust, credibility, authenticity, all those things that we talk about in the book.
Yeah, and a very good point is that they're able to take a very complex challenge or process or approach, and they simplify it down and make it easy for someone to understand in a quick and easy way. And that is something that takes a lot of intelligence to do that, because it's easy to take something simple and make it complicated, but it's a lot harder to take something that's very complicated and simple it down that you get it.
Very true. Very true.
Can you provide some types of content that is very popular with thought leadership?
Depends on the industry you're in. You can't say that health and wellness is going to be appropriate over in technology. So content creation and the type of themes you draw out of your research or your content that you want to put out as thought leaders will really be driven by the industry and your organization, your goals, your objectives. We can't forget that it's not just throw out content without strategic thinking. And that requires content calendars, content themes. Really, it's a content is king. They've always said that. That's never changed in my whole career, that content is king. I think it's much more valuable and relevant in the last 5 years more than ever, with the onslaught of all social media, the way you stand out on some of the channels. Some channels, it's about the funniness and all the little TikToks and those types of things. But a lot of channels do focus on thought leadership, and you'll find that in health and wellness really, really great, because in health and wellness you can talk about the benefits of certain products and how that's going to help you. I think health and wellness does it really well. They have a real opportunity to stand out if they find a good niche and they have products that support that niche. Financial, as you know, you have a great example of from when you worked with ADP, to share with us what you did there that separated them from the competition.
Well, with ADP, there's a lot of spam laws out there in Canada that you can't just email to somebody without accepting that channel of communication. I mean, ADP is a very large organization and they have deep pockets. What we did was we looked at our target audience, which were HR professionals, and we looked at where their vision was, where they wanted to be. And then we looked at what would be meaningful for them and what they thought was relevant in order to reach those goals. Actually created this kind of pseudo magazine that featured them on the cover, that their organization was the best employer, dated a future year. And this got people saying, wow, you know what? It's attainable. It's like a positive affirmation. It's a vision. And then we provide them with the tools and the content, how they're going to get there. It was very entertaining in the sense that drove curiosity. It was something people could post on their wall if they wanted to. It really was playing into their future, caring about people, caring about the image and the company they were working for, and how to get the tools to make it happen. And it drove a huge volume of traffic to our website, which when they went on the page, we gave them a unique URL. So when they went on the page, it also reaffirmed what was on the cover, that they had made it, they had achieved it. And then this is how they achieved it. And then we provided all of the tools. And so we tracked all of the behavior, what papers they downloaded, if they requested to contact us. And then we sent the list based on engagement metrics to sales for follow-up. And the conversion rate was about 5 times higher if they would have just contacted this group without getting engaged with them prior time. So it was a very successful campaign. And we woke up the industry to look at things a little bit differently. And that was what we defined as a demand generation program that converted into leads.
A multi-pronged 360 integrated strategy. I wanted to highlight is the B2B strategy. When we started talking, you think thought leadership, consumer, of course, B2C, direct consumer. But these types of thought leadership strategies are really fantastic for B2B. And you made me think about similarly when I worked at the mortgage insurance company for quite a number of years, the largest mortgage insurer in Canada. And what we did with our thought leadership is something similar. We created a quarterly digest, a digest that was called The Better Way to Home Ownership. And in that digest, we culminated not only our research that we could highlight around financial fitness of homeowners, how to pick your neighborhoods, real estate tips. And that digest went out to all of our customers, and our customers were banks, financial institutions, credit unions, brokers, realtors, the real estate industry at large, because the information that we were sharing was relevant not just to one sector, it was relevant to a multitude of our customers that happen to have different needs for that material. Some of the realtors put a little label on it with their name, and they'd give that digest out to the homeowner because it ultimately was for the homeowner, but it was a pass-through strategy of creating content, to your point, materials that the sales force can use that might be customized and branded for that particular sales force or that particular region. Again, starts showing there's credibility with your sales force. So marketing's responsibility to ensure that whatever is created is useful for not just one channel, not just one segment. It could be multi-segmented, as I said, B2C, B2B. So the money that you're spending, the budget that you're allocating to thought leadership now goes that much farther, and you have many more opportunities to measure where the best leads are coming in, or where you're growing in brand awareness, because brand awareness is another really great strategic area to consider when you're using content, thought leadership content, because brand awareness, again, is about that credibility, authenticity, trust, and those two go hand in hand.
A great case study. Both case studies refer to printed content, but thought leadership and the communication of it and the reach can be many different forms of content, like we talked about. So it can be blog posts, it could be videos, it can be social media posts.
We did a digital digest, right? With the link, and you can so many ways to use your content. Absolutely, you're right. Printed, a few years back was actually much more people wanted print materials. We've moved, it's funny, as you go in more digital space, those types, they aren't as successful as they once were, and that's where testing, and I know you're a big tester, you like testing.
Well, sometimes the old becomes new again. When we're too cluttered with emails, people get bombarded, and that channel becomes oversaturated. And channels like direct mail may be a way of breaking through to get to your audience because nobody else is doing it. When you see a new channel opening up, sometimes you can dominate that channel and be a leader in that channel if there isn't a lot of noise out there already. So that, what are you going to say, Anita?
when you mentioned direct mail, I light up because I know both of us started our career in direct mail. That takes us back, many years. But
Yeah.
who I've noticed is still doing direct mail well. Of course, the banks, that's always my first answer, but my second answer on who's doing it well, and I love it because I get it and I almost look forward to it, is the not-for-profits, those
Yes.
the Red Cross, and anywhere you're giving your money from a charitable standpoint. Some of those organizations invest in direct mail, little things that really make you open your mail. Oh, they sent you a pen, they sent me socks. We need to want to donate because I feel guilty. So
Reciprocate, right? Yeah.
right? They get to your emotion around, you thought, oh, I donated a year ago, if it feels or whatever, to that organization. But then the minute you get that direct mail piece that's pulling on the heartstrings and gives you a nice little pen, and like I said, it just, they do it well, and they must get people to donate, or else they wouldn't be investing in that kind of channel. There wouldn't be return. So they're obvious got a good ROI on that particular tack. I think digital's great, but there's still opportunity to get your thought leadership or your unique value proposition out through direct mail is still a channel.
Yeah, I agree. And the book talks a lot about it as well, and that is your return on investment. So the cost to acquire always has to be part of the formula to determining what channel you're going to go after. The non-for-profit, I'm assuming more high tier, direct mail, which is a much costlier channel to go out, is you're getting the ROI on, and you're probably establishing a tier where you would do a direct mail to certain groups, but not other groups, where it may be a lower cost channel where the response is lower, or the testing to figure out what is your most competitive channel or mix in order to reach your audience to get that desired response. And thought leadership is a great play for getting your request for proposal. If you're out there and you're talking in the industry and C-suites are reading your content, when you're more likely to be approached, or when you do submit an RFP, is more likely to be read because they've already familiar with who you are and your authority and your credibility, and that helps you rise to the top. So very important around thought leadership. Anything else that you want to close with about thought leadership, Anita?
I think organizations should consider thought leadership. That thought leadership is a very strong strategy to position yourself in a crowded marketplace. I would probably recommend that you engage with firms like the Environics that do these types of research initiatives. You get more credibility when you're using a validated research house that helps again with the credibility. Thought leadership is about the credibility. So that would be a piece of advice I would leave behind. And to bring in marketing experts like ourselves dozens of times in multiple different ways and for multiple industries, not just financial. We've been in health and wellness and technology and IT and human resources. I think we've touched a lot of different industries, and thought leadership of course plays out differently for each of the different industries.
And one industry that I wanted to touch on, which it's exploded in thought leadership, is courses and coaching. And this is just exploding. I mean, I just yesterday I just joined in to watch Anthony Robbins. He's an extremely dynamic speaker. He put an event, he had over 2 million people attending this live virtual event. And it was very powerful. I mean, as we know, he's a powerhouse. He defined the word life coach. Before him, there was no one else. And he really created that whole movement. I mean, there's people now that they take a weekend course and they're a life coach, and then they think that they can change the world. And meanwhile, they haven't changed their own, but they're feeling confident that they can reach out and hang up their title and say, hey, I'm a coach. Industry like that, where on-demand courses have become into play, where you're able to reach millions of people across hundreds of countries to be able to consume your content, to be able to sell your services, to be able to sell your courses. If you don't master thought leadership, you are not going to be able to successfully enter those type of industries. That is a clear example of, if you do it right, you can make an enormous amount of money. And if you do it wrong, it's like the superstars will rise to the top, but many thousands and thousands of people will try it and abandon it. It's kind of like real estate agents. How many people have their real estate license and then they don't practice? Or how many people have written a book? Or how many people have done so many different activities and then they just don't service to the top because they haven't really put all their ducks in the order to really be able to establish themselves as being credible. Because if you're not credible, nobody is going to buy your service or product, especially in those spaces.
Well said.
So much for listening about thought leadership. As Anita had said, thought leadership really can move the needle in your business, and it has a really strong play for B2B, finance, health and wellness. A lot of the industries Anita and I have built ourselves as experts in marketing. If you are interested, please reach out to us and we'll be more than happy to have a chat with you to see if there's an opportunity that we can help you. Don't forget to look for our book, Jump Into It Breakthru Marketing Guide. It's now available on Amazon. We also have it in Audible. You can listen to it on your favorite platforms. Thank you again, and look forward to our next topic, ways to inspire and grow yourself personally and your business. Ready to jump into it and turn your vision into reality? Get the Jump Into It Breakthru Marketing Guide, now available on Amazon, ebook, paperbook, or as an audiobook on your favorite platform. It's the perfect resource or gift for anyone ready to ignite fast wins and lasting success. Don't wait. Make your move now.